Loving Sairam, Sister Nula Falvey, the Sri Satya Sai Global Council Trinidad and Tobago lovingly welcomes you to the series A Week Unite and Inspire. We are extremely grateful, blessed, and honored to have you as our guest on this evening's program. So, Sister Nula, share with us, how did you first come into contact with our beloved Mother Sai?
Should we start off with three ohms?
Certainly.
Om. 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 Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Sai Ram. I first heard about Sai Baba, Sri Satya Sai Baba, in 1977. A friend called me one day and he said, I just came back from India from seeing Sai Baba. And I had never heard the name before, but immediately I couldn't believe it to this day that that name registered in my heart by hearing the name over the phone. And then he told me that a Sai Baba Center had just opened up in Phoenix, and he gave me the address, and I contacted the people, and I went there, and everything looked a little strange there with a robe and an empty chair, but I looked at the people, and they had such a peaceful look, and I said, I don't know what this is all about yet, but they have such a look of peace in them. I want that. And so within a year, I went to India with a group of 58 people, and it was in December. So we were there for Christmas. Sairam. Do you want me
Sarah,
to? Do you want me
thank
to?
you. No, that is very good. Thank you very much for that first initial contact you've had with our beloved Mother Sai. And I know, Sister Nula, you've had a long association with our beloved Mother Sai over the years, and you've had many wonderful experiences. Can you share a few of your most memorable experiences you have had with Sri Satya Sai Baba?
Yes, but before that, I'd like to mention uh, ever since I was a child, I always had the meaning and purpose to life. It would never go away, the meaning and purpose to life. And also, I felt something missing inside of me. It wasn't a depression, it was just an emptiness. And over the years, no matter where I traveled, no matter what I'd done, uh, that was always there. And so uh, when I look back, those were my two gifts, because when I, at a young age, became successful, I said, God, I still don't know the meaning and purpose to life. When I got all of these things, take them away. Just take them all away, because I'm still left with the meaning and purpose to life, and I still have that emptiness inside. So nothing out there filled it up. So that was my gift, because that became very intense with me, that feeling in 1977. It became more and more intense. And that's when I got that phone call from a friend that said, I just came back from India. I forgot I wanted to slip that in there. So when I look back, that was my gift. That's what really brought me to Swami, but I had to wait a long time for that to happen. So then when we got there, I went with a group of 58 people in December, and two of the couples, Swami married them on Christmas morning. And on that first trip, we had a group interview, we had a private interview. there was a double wedding on Christmas morning, and then Swami had a special lunch for us on Christmas Day, and he talked to us about Jesus and the life of Jesus. So that's how it went on my first trip. But one thing that happened in the private interview that I will never forget, I'm sitting just a few feet away from Swami, and he looked right into my eyes, and every mistake I ever made in this lifetime came to the surface. And I whispered inside to myself and I said, "Oh my goodness, Baba, you know everything about me. I can't run and hide from you. Here I am." And all of this came up. And it's not that it was that bad, but he magnified everything. So then I spent 3 days writing all of these things down, and I took the letter to Darshan number 1, Baba walk by and ignore me. And then I rewrote the letter, Darshan number 2, he ignored me again, and Darshan number 3. Now I'm saying, Baba, please. I said I'm sorry so many ways. Please take my letter. Christmas is coming up and I want to enjoy my Christmas. So on Christmas Eve morning, he walks up to me, gives me the sweetest smile, and takes the letter and puts me into bliss. But after that, Darshan, then I walked up the hill by myself because I had a question. I instantly believed in Swami from the beginning, but I had a question that I didn't share this question with anybody. But I thought I'll ask Baba when I go there. So I went up to the top of the hill on Christmas Eve morning, and I sat under the wishful fulfilling tree, and I said, Swami, I have always prayed to Jesus and loved Jesus. And now, where does Jesus, I wanted clarification. Where does Jesus come into the picture now? Because here I'm with you, and I wanted clarity on that. So I'm sitting there very early in the morning, and all of a sudden, I feel I can transported back 2,000 years in history. And tears started flowing down my cheeks. And then, and I felt I was living in that time with Jesus. I felt the whole thing with the realization there's no difference. They're all one. It was just settled for me right there on top. So that was a moment that I will never forget because it just answered everything for me up there on top of the hill that morning. So Sairam.
And Sister Nula, that was very, very beautiful, very inspiring and elevating. Share with us a little bit about the Monkey Minds episode.
Okay, that's another interview I was at, and Swami was sitting on his chair, and again, I'm a couple of feet away from him, sitting directly in front of him. And he talked about the monkey mind for at least a half an hour. And then he said, the little monkeys are better than we are. They just hop from one tree to another. And then he looked straight into my eyes and he said, mad monkey mind, very bad. And he got up off his chair and he came over and he said, but I will bless you. And he put his hand on top of my head and he leant down on my head and shook my head. I could feel it going all over my whole being. It was a powerful experience that I'll never forget. Sairam.
That was wonderful. So you actually felt as Swami put his hand on your head, you feel like energy was going through your body, your entire
Oh,
being.
I through my whole body, like my whole body was shaking, energizing my whole body from head to foot.
My God, that is amazing. And then, Sister Nula, you were so lucky to be in an interview where Swami conducted two marriages for
Mhm.
devotees. Can you share a little bit about what that experience was like in the interview room? And what were some of the life lessons? Because I'm sure he would have shared life lessons on marriage and getting along. What was that experience? And what were some of those teachings you received?
Okay, the wedding was different, so I'll share the private interview first. So in the private interview, Swami looked at all of us and he said, this is the way he started off our very first time with Swami on the group interview. He said, you're all wondering who's God and where is God. You're God, you're God, you're God, you're God. The only difference is I know I'm God and you don't know you're God. And he said, you're all traveling on a very bumpy road. And he demonstrated with his hand, you're all traveling on a very bumpy road. Past is past. Don't think about the past. And he said, don't think a whole lot about the future. Live today like there's no tomorrow, and then tomorrow will fall into place, and be happy. Sairam. So now
Wonderful.
getting back to the wedding, um, they thought there were three people in the group, and the third one thought Baba was going to marry them too, but it didn't happen like that. So there were two couples that Baba married on Christmas morning, and he it was amazing to watch all of this because he manifested the rice and he manifested the Mangala Sutras for the ladies. And I'm sitting next to his chair, and I could actually see the Mangala Sutra, the string coming right out of the middle of the palm of his hand. And then he just cut the Mangala Sutra like that. We saw all of those manifestations. And then he materialized earrings for the brides during that wedding ceremony. And then he said, before marriage, husband is half of the wife, wife is half of the husband, and after marriage, you're one. And then he said, marriage is like sandpaper, and and he put his hands together, and the tendency is to come apart. He said, stay together because it's good for you, because you work on each other's vasanas. Because if it don't exist on the inside of us, it won't exist on the outside. So whatever we see in another person, we won't see it unless it's in us. And on the first interview, Swami said to us, our job in this lifetime is to follow the master, face the devil, fight to the end, and finish the game. Follow the master, the God within, face the devil, not out there with horns, Baba pointed. He said the devil is inside of us, our own anger, jealousy, greed. And he said, stay at it and until you're done. That's our job. So he said all of that on our first interview, which was very profound.
Oh, what powerful and beautiful messages for all of us. Wow, follow the master, face the devil, fight to the end, and finish the game. That's such a beautiful, beautiful message. Sister Nula,
And
please go
I'd like
ahead.
to share. I'd like to share one more thing. He said, "I'm not here for any new. I love these teachings of Baba's because he acknowledged the major religions of the world, and he said, you don't need to follow me when you hear about me. Just be a better Hindu, be a better Muslim, be a better Christian. Just be a better person. Start the day with love, fill the day with love, spend the day with love, in the day with love. That's the way to God. Hear no evil, hear what is good, see no evil, see what is good, do no evil, do what is good, think no evil, think what is good. And don't speak ill of others. He said, I command you to not to speak ill of others. You're not my devotee if you speak ill of others.
Very, very powerful
Myra.
very, very powerful reminders of some of his basic but very, very inspiring deep teachings. So, Sister Nula, share with us the incident with the motorcycle.
Before I do the motorcycle, I would like to talk about a few things at the very beginning when I first went to India, because what Baba was teaching me was to trust my inner guidance and trust my intuition. Uh, I've always been blessed with good intuition, but I didn't understand it through my life. I was ignoring it. And here now I'm with Swami, and he's teaching me, trusted. This is me. This is me inside of you, trusted. So on my very first trip, I'm standing outside the bookstore by myself waiting for a friend. And an Indian gentleman walked up to me and he said, I'm an Indian businessman and I run my life by the Gita Vihini. And then walked away. And then I went into the store and bought the Vihini books. And then I bought all the Vihini books because and I was a student of those when I first came back from India. I studied all of those for the first year because they were handwritten by Swami. Then another incident was this, about trusting my intuition. I ran out of meal tickets and I thought, oh, I'm not going to ask anybody for meal tickets. I'll just see what happens. But Baba set me up like this, okay, because this is what happened. So I thought, okay, Baba, I won't ask anybody. I could ask somebody, borrow meal tickets, but the bank was closed. It was a long weekend. And so I'm out of meal tickets. So I thought, okay, I won't ask anybody and we'll see what happens. So the very next morning at 3:30, I never saw these people before, but they said, we're leaving today and we have all this food and we have all this cereal, and they had nuts and cereal and everything. And they gave me all this food before I went down for morning darshan. And so I left it in the room and I'm walking down. So they had, and all of this was from the States, cereals and nuts and everything, and they're going. So then I'm walking down and this is what happened. And I said, Swami, it would be very nice if I had milk for my cereal. And guess what happened? A lady walks up to me and she had a beautiful container and it was silver. It was very lovely. And she said to me, I want you to have some milk. And she gave me a container of milk. So I was on my way down to the temple. So I ran back and I put it in the room and I didn't think anything about it. So I went back down to the temple and came back. And then I thought, oh, look at this beautiful silver container. I have to give this back to the lady. So the next morning when I went down, I said, Swami, point out this lady to me because it was dark. I didn't even know what she looked like. And the next morning I had the container to give it to her. And this Indian lady walked up to me and said, can I please have my milk container? So again, Baba said to us, talk to me. I'm inside of you. Talk to me. I'm inside of you. I'm outside of you, to the left of you, to the right of you, above you, below you, all around you. And with his hand 3 times, he said, I love you. I love you. I love you. What more do you want? Talk to me. I'm your friend. So I talk to Baba to this day about everything. This is why these things happen. But when they happen, you don't question it because it's Baba's doing it. It's a miracle from him. And your logical mind is not working. You don't ask questions. Like when that Indian lady said those things to me, I didn't say a word. And normally I'd say, how did you know I need the milk? I didn't say anything like that, you see. Sairam.
Oh,
So now,
that is, yes, please go ahead.
so now, let me tell, while I'm still in India over there, let me tell you another one. An ashram. Oh yeah, I'll tell you this one. Swami scolded me once. So one year I was there and I didn't realize Dasara was coming up, the Dasara festival. And different people came up to me that didn't even know me. And they said, oh, you have to stay for Dasara. You have to stay for Dasara. And I said, why? And they said, oh, it's a cleansing, purifying time. It's very important that you're here for Dasara. So I said, okay, Swami, I'll stay here for Dasara. Then I'll give my ticket to the taxi driver. And if it's a cleansing, purifying time, smash that ego of mine, Swami. We have to be careful what we ask Swami for. And I said, smash my ego. You're not going to believe what happens. So I'm sitting on the second row, and Swami comes out from the temple, and he gives nobody darshan. He walks straight up to me, and he started scolding me. And again, Baba's words are so powerful. When he's scolding me, I felt, this body of mine felt like shattered glass, that I am shattered now from head to foot. That's the way I felt. I'm disconnected. My whole body is disconnected from head to foot. So he's scolding me for going into the village. And when it was all, and everybody's looking and pointing at me like, it's her, it's her. And the lady in front of me turns around and said, you spoil my darshan. So you can imagine how I felt. And then everybody is looking at me and pointing, because you see, I'd said to Swami, smash my ego. So, but the Sevadal said to me when Baba walked on, that was not for you. You're very disciplined. It was for the people behind you. But it might have been, but I knew it was for me also. I absolutely knew it was for me. So I'm walking back, and I spent the day crying over this, and I'm feeling bad, because I'm saying, Baba, I'm not going to the village. But what Baba meant by the village is, here I am with Swami. We should keep and follow his guidance about going inside. Don't talk to people. Go back to your room when darshan is over. Take that energy, or it goes back to God unused. That's what he tells us. So I was too friendly and outgoing with everybody over there, and that's not the reason we go there. So I figured it all out, spending the day to think about all of this. And then I went down for evening darshan. And again, Swami didn't look at anybody. He walked from the temple and he walks right up to me. And I had a letter, and my hand is shaking. I'm so nervous. And I put out my hand and it's shaking. And he looked at me so sweetly, took the letter and put me into bliss. And these are the soul experiences I have with Baba, where he has gone to the depths of my soul. So for me, Baba is my real mother, father, friend, confidant, everything. I tell him everything. To this day, I tell him everything. Because he has convinced me over and over again. He hears us because he's inside of each and every one of us. And one time, in an interview, another interview, he said to me, let me see, what did he say in that interview? Talk to me, keep talking to me. I'm your friend. He said it again. So I do. Sairam.
So, Sister Nula, your relationship with Mother Sai has been where you include him as your best friend, your confidant. In everything that you do, whatever you're doing, you include Swami. So you've built that inner relationship with Mother Sai over the years in your life.
Because this is what he was training me from the beginning to do. So here is another example of that. We were told when the Hillview Stadium first opened up that if we practice in groups, we could get to sing in front of Swami down at the stadium. So the group that I was with, I said, you guys, we are not good enough to sing in front of Swami. We need some more practice. So after darshan, you come back, morning darshan, you come back and you have something to eat and you go down again for bhajans. So I said to our group, let's keep practicing in the shed. Let's not go down for bhajans because we're not good enough. Let's stay in the shed and practice. And they said, there was about 11 of us in the group. So 3 or 4 of them said, we're going down. We want Baba's darshan. But I said, no, Baba's going to come here and give us darshan. He's going to come to the shed. And they said, no, he's not. I said, yeah, not only is he going to come to the shed, he's going to come to the shed in a gold Rolls Royce. So they said, oh yeah, and 3 or 4 of them left to go down to Darshan, and the rest of us that were left behind, we kept practicing the bhajans. Then the next thing, I hear a car outside the shed, and I jump up and I go outside, and lo and behold, it's the gold Rolls Royce. And Baba rolls down the window and he smiles at her. I said to them, come you guys, Baba's in the gold Rolls Royce. I'm all excited. So he rolls down the window and he smiles and he keeps on going. But guess what? Down at the end, before it turned the corner, that gold Rolls Royce disappeared. It wasn't there, because when I asked them at the ashram, they said Baba did not have a gold Rolls Royce, but it was there in front of us, and he was in it and he smiled at it. Sairam. So again, he wanted, because I was sincere about it, and I was kidding, but because of my sincerity, and I guess I was doing it for a good thing, Baba came along and he bailed me out.
And that
So,
leads me, yes, that leads me to the motorcycle incident, which is related. So please
okay,
share that, the grace of that experience.
okay, so that happened in Phoenix, Arizona. Actually, it happened in Scottsdale, Arizona, and I remember the year very well. It was the year 2008, because my car needed 4 new tires. And during that year, there was a lot of talk about the 2008 rubber tires being very faulty, that they're faulty, and you have to question if you need new tires, that you make sure you're not getting those faulty tires. So when I went to the tire company, and I brought that up about the faulty tires and how are these tires? Are they good tires? Because there was a lot of talk about the tires blowing out on the freeway. And they said, oh, no, no, they're good tires. They're good. They're fine. Look at them. And they had me look at them. But I said, they're 2008. No, they said, they're fine. So the next day I had to go to the East Valley in the town of Gilbert, looking at homes, because previewing homes, because the next day I'm taking a family out to look at these homes. So on my way back in the freeway, it was the month of August, and it gets very hot in Arizona. It was 115 degrees. And I hear a big loud noise. And I looked behind from the car and I thought it was a motorcycle, and it wasn't. So I pulled over to the side of the freeway, and lo and behold, one of the tires is all over the road. So I pull off, and they're brand new, they're less than a week old. So I pull off the freeway right there. I don't know why I did this, that I didn't stay on the freeway. But when I pulled off, because the freeway was pretty new, and then when I pulled off at a main road to pull off, I'm in the Indian reservation on a dirt road, and there's nobody around, not a soul, not a car, nobody. And I'm saying, oh my God, Swami, what am I going to do? But I wasn't nervous and I wasn't afraid. But I had very little water in the bottle. And normally I carry a lot of water, but I had very little water. And I knew I couldn't survive for very long. So I called Farmers Insurance and I said, how soon? I told them where I was. How soon can you get there? They said 45 minutes. I said, that's too long. I can't wait that long. I explained, I have a few drops of water and it's 115 degrees. They said 45 minutes. So then I called AAA. I belong to AAA. They said exactly the same thing, 45 minutes. So I'm talking to Swami and I'm saying, Swami, look, I just have a little water. What do I do? But I wasn't panic and I wasn't nervous. So I thought I cannot stay in the car with air condition on very long because it will overheat. So I'm in the car and the air conditioner is on. And the next thing, out of nowhere, it wasn't an ordinary bike. This very beautiful bike slowly went by me and turned around and came back. It was a very, very large and chrome and it sparkled. And the guy that was sitting on the bike was a young, good-looking guy with blonde hair, all dressed up in a suit, and it's in the dirt. And he just softly said to me, he turned around so I could see him, and then in front of me, and came back and came up to the window and softly said to me, "Can I help you?" Very gently and softly. And I said, "Yeah, the tire blew out." He said, "I can fix it." So he said, "Open the trunk." And in 2 seconds, he went in there, got out the spare, lay down with his beautiful clothes and blonde hair in the dirt, and changed the tire just like that. And I dusted him off a little bit in the back, and then I gave him a little bit of my water, but not all of it, because his hands were filthy, and I gave him a little bit of water to wash off his fingers. But the amazing thing about it is, because normally I would say, "How did you know I'm here? What's your name? Where did you come from?" I asked nothing. No, my mind did not work to ask any questions at all. So I got into the car, and by the time I turned around the car, he had disappeared. He was nowhere. He was not in front of me. He was not behind me. He was not anywhere. So my mind is still not working. So I go home, and now I'm working on my computer to get all these homes together to take this family out the next day. And about 9:30 at night, I get a call from a client of mine who I sold him a home in Phoenix 6 years before, but she moved out of Phoenix and lives in North Carolina, and she's married with kids. So the first thing she said to me, "Check your tires." And I said, "Well, I had a flat tire today." She said, "No, go to the garage and check your tires." So I went out, and lo and behold, now the front tire on the driver's seat, the rubber is peeling off of it. The whole tire is peeling off. So then I said to her, "How come you called me?" And she says, "I was prompted to call you." So then I had to cancel my appointment because the next day is Sunday. And I called AAA on Monday to take me back to that tire place and get rid of those faulty tires. Uh, so that was an amazing thing, how Swami came to help me on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere.
That is absolutely amazing. Oh my God. Out of nowhere, it even sounded like Elvis Presley.
Well, he did, because you see, if a guy came along on a motorbike with tattoos and all of that, like, I would be scared to death. But this guy was all dressed up with a suit and tie and lovely blonde hair and everything, you see. So I might as well tell you another one of those stories, because this is another amazing, blowing mind story. Listen to this one, because this happened at London airport. So one year I went to Ireland, and I stopped in London first, although I had a round trip ticket from London to Phoenix. But because I stopped off in London first, I went across on the boat. And then I was supposed to come across on that boat again from Ireland to England, but plans changed. So now I'm booking a flight from Ireland to London. And when I did that, I'm talking to the guy. So I'm going to be arriving in number 3 at London, and I'd be leaving for number 4. They're very far away from each other. And I said to the guy when I was booking the flight, I said, "Can you guys drop off the suitcase on number 4 so I'm not hauling it all over the airport?" And he said, "No, but when you get there," he said, "we can't do that, but when you get there, go up to the desk when you arrive there at number 4, and just tell them to put your suitcase behind the desk." Because I had only 2 choices to get that plane. If I took the later plane, I'd miss my plane going from London to Phoenix. So I took the earlier plane, like leaving Ireland at 5 o'clock and arriving in London at 6 o'clock in the morning. And so then I'm talking to Baba, and I'm saying, "Baba, I don't want to take that train and the suitcase in the train. I'll just take the escalators and the elevator. I'll just walk it because I have plenty of time." But this is what happened every step of the way. It's a very long distance to go from number 3 to number 4 at London Airport. So you have to take the escalator and the elevator, and you have to take walks, and you have to do all of this. So every step of the way, somebody's there, very gentle voice saying, I'm going the same way, let me take the case. And then I'd come down the stairs, and then somebody else would be there and saying, I'm going this way, you're going this way. And this is the way it happened until I got to number 4. So then when I got to number 4, the international section, I'm there at 6 o'clock in the morning. My flight is not leaving until the evening. So I went up to the desk and I said to the man, my flight is not till the evening. Can I just leave the case here? And he says, oh God, no, the security is tight. You can't leave it here. So then he said to me, why don't you talk to that guy over there? So on the distance, there's another guy. And I went over to him. And he said the same thing to me. Oh, because of security, I can't. So then he said to me, why don't you talk to the guy over there? Now I'm going to go to guy number 3. And he's a young guy, young, good-looking guy. And I walked up to him. And I'm saying the same thing to him. And this is what happened. While I'm talking to the third guy at the international section at 6 o'clock in the morning, a lady comes along out of the blue, and she said, come, follow me. And I remember she was wearing a jacket, a light blue jacket and a blouse, and she had a name tag on it, and she was wearing a skirt and shoes, and she's all dressed up business. So she comes up, while I'm talking to the third guy, she comes up to me and says, come follow me. And we go to the desk, and then all of a sudden, there's a young, pretty girl behind the desk. So the lady in the uniform says, book this young lady to Phoenix. Now, I never gave her my address. I never gave her my name. I gave her nothing. So she said, book the young lady to Phoenix. And then the girl inside the desk gave me a boarding pass. And again, my mind didn't, so now I have the whole day. So I went on upstairs, and now by this time I'm very hungry. So I found a restaurant to eat. And so then I had to walk around the airport and everything all day. And then while I'm eating my breakfast, I said to myself, wait a minute. I hope that my case has gone to the right place. And I hear I have the boarding pass, but it's all done, my boarding pass with my name, but I never gave her my name or gave her nothing. And so then when the plane did not leave on time because there was an air condition problem with it, so then we were delayed an extra 2 hours. So then when I got on the plane, right behind me was a Baba student. He started talking to me. And then he gave me a couple of books that his father had written. Yeah. So that was kind of amazing. But I didn't ask any more about that. But then when I got home, I looked at my passport. That passport was never stamped, nothing. Can you look at this miracle of God, that this lady came up to me, gave me a boarding pass, no passport was stamped, nothing. I hope I'm not in trouble for saying this now, because this happened years ago. It's all over now. But look at that miracle of Swami's.
That is absolutely an amazing story, Sister Nula. And you've had so many wonderful divine interventions. You've received Swami's compassion and grace in so many ways. But I know at this point in time, we're about halfway through the interview. I know you've composed beautiful English songs of Swami. Would you be willing to share at least or sing at least one for us at this point in time?
Well, there's a message in each of them. But what I want to share, on one of my trips back from India, both of them came one right after the other. And when I came back from that trip, I was in a very elevated state of consciousness. And I'm sitting down, And the lyrics are from Irish songs, like I'll sing Sai Baba's Love is a Blessing. Well, an Irish song is a mother's love is a blessing. But that the words came and the lyrics came, I did nothing about it. I did absolutely nothing. It all came to me. So the words are very profound, I think, because it was the way I was feeling. And so I'm taking no credit for these. Baba definitely did it, because I'm sitting in my puja room after coming back and they both came to me like that. So I will start off with Sai Baba's Love is a Blessing. Sai Baba's love is a blessing, no matter where you go. Feel him always within you, and your love will blossom and grow. Love him as your parent, teacher, guide, and best friend. Sai Baba's like a mother's love, which will never, never end. Swami, we love you with all of our hearts. Oh, Swami, we love you with all of our hearts. Practice Sai Baba's teachings and live a simple life. Love and serve humanity. Help remove the stress and strife. Let's join hands together and hang on to his lotus feet. We shall make our planet a better place, where all will live in peace. Swami, we love you with all of our hearts. Oh, Swami, we love you with all of our hearts. Swami, we love you with all of our hearts. Oh, Swami, we love you with all of our hearts. That's that one.
Oh
Sairam.
my God, Sister Nula, that was so inspiring, so soulful. It touched our heart with that beautiful, beautiful rendition. Which leads me to the next question. What
Oh,
does
before the next question, can I just go ahead while I'm doing it, because this is what Baba has really done to me, and the name
please
of the song is "Melt My Heart." Is it okay if I go ahead?
certainly go right ahead?
Okay, so the name of the song is "Melt My Heart," which he has. I have no words to describe my experiences with Baba, but I'll sing this one. Last night I had a pleasant dream. I woke up with a smile. Lord Sai's loving arms were embracing me, Mother of the universe. Her grace and love is guiding me on my journey back home. O Mother Sai, O Mother Sai, I embrace you to my soul. My soul yearns and longs for you, O sweet Mother Sai. Melt my heart, oh melt my heart, and flow through me. Nothing in this world compares with your love. Oh, how blessed I feel to know you're protecting and loving me, and always by my side. Your love, your light, your compassion, I never will forget. You are like the Ganges flowing through me and feeding my soul. Oh, my soul yearns and longs for you, sweet mother sigh. Melt my heart, oh melt my heart, and flow through me. Melt my heart, oh melt my heart, and flow through me. Sairam.
Sister Nula, I have no words to express what we feel when you sing that song. It's so wonderful, so touching, and it comes from your soul. You truly, truly, truly inspire us with those beautiful words, and I'm sure that Mother Sai is touched by the way that you have sung it. So Bhagwan Baba's blessings upon you always, and thank you so much for sharing that. So, what does Sai Baba mean to you today?
Sai Baba means everything to me. Every morning of my life, from the depths of my soul, the first thing I do is thank God from the depths of my soul, because what I have gotten from Swami is the gift of inner peace. Remember, one of the first lessons out loud for me was happiness 3 times from Swami out loud inside of me. Happiness is union with God. Happiness is union with God. Happiness is union with God. I call it being Wi-Fi and connected to our higher soul, to our higher self. There's nothing, because Baba tells us peace is outside, peace inside. So from once we're connected to our higher self, it's the greatest gift in the world. And my other gift from Swami is, over the years, like all of us, I had a lot of desires and a lot of wants. But guess what? Over the years, they have all gone away, literally. I have no desires for anything anymore. I have no wants. I have no nothing. I'm always content, and I'm always peaceful, and I'm always happy, no matter what's going on. So that is the biggest gift I've ever gotten from Swami. And I would like everybody to feel like this. And they can, by doing the same thing I have done: follow the master, face the devil, fight to the end, and finish the game. Because in the early days, I did a lot of inner work on myself. It wasn't easy, but I did. I follow the master. And I faced the devil. Sarah.
So, Sister Nula, when you said you did a lot of inner work, because when we come into contact with Swami, he normally says he hooks you and then he begins to cook you and work on you. So,
He
what was
does.
some of that inner work that you did? What did
Well,
that?
Swami got my attention on my very first trip on Christmas Day, when he said to us, whatever we do in this lifetime, if we're doing it from our mind, our will, and our ego, we're creating karma. And the second thing he said is, we have all come into this world with an invisible garland around our neck. So when we got out from that talk on Christmas Day, I said to the Indian ladies, what did Baba mean by the invisible garland around your neck? They said, oh my God, that's your past karma. That's your past karma. So when I went home on from my very first trip, I said, oh my God, Baba, I have been doing everything all wrong. So if I have everything up to this point, if everything I have done is from my mind, will, and ego, at that time I owned 3 properties. I said, I'm going to sell these 2 rentals, and I'm going to clean the slate, and I'm going to give the money away to charity, local charities, and I'm going to start all over again. And that's what I did. And then I thought I'd also change professions. So, but when I did all of that, I had a Baba dream. And in the dream, my first Baba dream, I'm about 3.5 or 4 in the dream, and there's Irish music playing in the background, because he said he has to unmake us and remake us with our ego destroyed. So he's unmaking and remaking me at about 3.5 years old. I feel we're all children in front of Swami. So we're climbing a ladder, and Baba's reaching out and he's holding my hands, and we're climbing the ladder. And I'm stamping my feet each step, and I'm saying, Baba, I'm pouting. I'm saying, Baba, it's too difficult. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. He said, I will help you. I will help you. I will help you. We got up to the top of the ladder. And then I started doing all this inner work on myself, because we can all come in. Baba said, we've been around thousands of lifetimes. And my invisible garland around my neck, by the way, which was many years later, was a life in Russia in the 18th century. And my whole entire family in this life were in that life in Russia. And that was a tie cutting that I done with Phyllis Crystal. And by the way, after that happening, believe it or not, at that time there were fax machines, and into my home came from Russia with love. And we went to Russia at that time in the 90s, and 17 Russians came to India with us. And it was an amazing experience. There was about 17 of us from the States, but that was my invisible garland. And I did go to Russia and cleared all of that up and done all of that. Quite amazing. So,
What a spiritual adventure you are having with this absolute divine Lord. Swami once told you, be like me, be like me, be like me. Can you share that experience?
yes, I will. Each time I went to India every year for the first 10 years. And I knew before I left India when I was going to go back again intuitively. I felt the date and the time and everything. And it happened exactly like that. But before I left India, I would get a message out loud inside from Swami. The first message was, be like me, always in threes. So my second message out loud inside of me, and the messages always came at darshan line. And my favorite darshans were watching Baba's interaction with the children on Sunday morning or Thursday morning. And I would love the way he would pull their cheeks and talk to them so lovingly and so sweetly. That's why Baba said he spends 75% of his time with the students and 25% with the rest of us, because they listen and they're open and they're receptive. Uh, so the second message out loud inside of me, always three times with me. Second message was, be like me, be like me, be like me. And I'm saying back to Baba, oh my God, Baba, this is a tall order. How can I possibly be like you? But when I would go home, I studied that for a year. Like the first one, happiness is union with God. I studied that for a year. When I went back, if I got it right, just like a child, Baba gave me a look and a wink, like good job. If I got it wrong, he'd walk by and ignore me. So I studied Baba. What did he really mean by be like me, be like me, be like me? So I studied Baba then at the ashram. What is Baba doing all day long at the ashram? Baba is loving and caring and sharing and giving, never taking. He's loving and caring and sharing and giving all day long from morning till night. And then I felt he came to teach us how we should be in the world. And so then I got that one right. He gave me a look and a wink. So now one of the ones that I did not get right was this, out loud inside of me. Do not waste time. Time waste is life waste. And then I remember saying to Baba way back then, oh my God, Baba, how hard do you want me to work? I'm already working so hard and I do so much service, and I'm complaining, like, how can I do more? So I went back that year and I did so much more service and working so hard. And then I go back and I thought I'd get a pat in the back. So he walks by and he ignores me. But it was great that I flunked that test, because walking by and ignore me, something else happened inside of me as well. And that was, I didn't feel God's love inside of me. That is the scariest thing I have ever experienced in my life, to feel a void and you don't feel. And um, again, that went on for 3 days. Darshan 1, walked by Normie, Darshan 2, and then on the third one, he walks up to me, looks into my life, put in my eyes, puts me in bliss. But I learned a lot from that one, that how blessed are we to know Swami and be connected with God and to feel his love in us all the time. That's better than all the gold in the world. So, Sairam.
Thank you so much, Sister Nula. That was very, very, very elevating. And we are learning so many life lessons through your experiences with Mother Sai. So here you are in the real estate business, making a
Oh,
lot of.
I just remembered another one that's very important that I want to share with you. See, with Swami,
Go
you
right.
never know. Yeah.
Yes.
Uh, so it's this one. One of the things that Swami was trying to teach me was to trust my inner guidance and intuition. And I had a lot of miracles happen around the ashram, and the way they came, a strong feeling that I should go here or a strong feeling I should go there. And I love Swami's darshans in the morning, but and I'd go into the temple, but in the evening, I love to sit outside and listen to the birds, and Swami would come out and watch the sunset and everything. And this evening, I'm out there, but I'm prompted to go inside. And I'm going against this prompting. Um, and finally, it wouldn't leave me alone. So I go around to go into the temple in the back on the ladies' side. And who is at the door but Swami? And there's one seat left in the whole temple. And although he's over there on that door on the men's side, I heard him saying out loud inside of me, looking into my eyes, "What took you so long?" So I sat down. So what he wanted to do was send me an invitation to hear Ravi Shankar. Ravi Shankar was playing in the temple. And I thought, how sweet. But I got a lot of invitations like that from, I'm prompted to go here. And then what it was. Like one time I'm prompted to leave the Hillview Stadium very fast and I didn't know where I was going. And I came up and I'm going to my room and I didn't know why. Well, it was the grand opening of the Western Canteen. And I was just outside the Western Canteen when Baba came along with his entourage and walked inside, and we all walked inside. He was blessing the canteen, and everybody else is still down there. So it was a private invitation to go to the blessing of the Western Canteen. Another one, while I'm at it, again, um, I never asked for a room at the ashram at all. And I said, Swami, it's up to you, because when I went and I inquired, they said there was hundreds of people on the list. And I just said, okay, Swami, if you want to give it to me, fine. And I never asked. So one time I went there, the planes were late and everything. We didn't arrive at the ashram until 11 o'clock at night. So there was no place to sleep but the shed. And I went in there and everybody, there was men and ladies together in the shed, and I'm saying, oh my God, Baba, what's this about? And everybody is snoring. And the next morning I said, Baba, I'm very happy to be here. I'm not going to complain. And I looked at a building across the way that had a flat roof. And I said, Swami, if you don't mind, tonight I'll just get a mattress and I'll sleep on top of this roof. I'll climb up there and sleep on top of the roof outside. I can watch the stars. So Baba didn't want any part of that, because what happened immediately was um, uh, a lady came along from Scottsdale and she said, I want you to come and stay with us. We have special accommodations for the teachers and you can see Swami's room. So she said, you come and stay with us. So the very next morning, after staying there with them, I was still kind of waking up, and an Indian lady that I did not know, she said to me, there was only one roundhouse at that time, and she said to me, go to the roundhouse in the morning. And I went and there was nobody there. And so I went back to wait at the Puna Chandra, because again, it was a big festival and there's a lot of people and I'm waiting and waiting to get in. But again, the voice wouldn't let me alone. Go back to the roundhouse. And I did this 3 times because I didn't want miss my going in. So I went back for the third time, and lo and behold, Baba comes along to bless the ground for a building. And then I got a phone call, would I like a room in the roundhouse? But I never asked for it. You see, these are the things about Swami. But the point that, and the message I want to bring out here is Swami wants to see our sincerity. And he's not out there somewhere. He's a part of us, and he's inside of us. And communicate with him, tell him everything, because over and over again, he would answer my questions like that to let me know he knows and that he's listening. Sairam.
What a very unique relationship you've had with him, making him your best friend, your companion, your guide. You've walked with him, talked with him, and you've had your being with him, which is really the essence of spirituality. So, Sister Nula, you're giving us all the necessary guidance and teachings of how we can be not only near to Swami, but very dear to him. But I want to go back. I want to go back a little bit to where you spoke about the Phoenix Center, where the center was housed at your home for 11 years, and you held many positions. You were the president, vice president, service coordinator, educational coordinator, EHV, and you managed the books. You were involved so much in so much of seva, feeding the homeless, visiting the nursing home, food banks. But I want to focus a little bit more on animal seva, which is something very close to Swami's heart as well. And Swami had a number of beautiful pets. The way he treated animals was a true lesson for us because they are all divine manifestations of himself. But can you share specifically when it comes to the treatment of animals, dogs, animal seva? What experience have you had with this seva? What have you been involved in, and what have you been practicing? What can you share with us along this particular aspect of community service?
Okay, well, because I was brought up in a farm in Ireland, I grew up around cows and calves and donkeys and horses and cats and dogs and you name it, we had everything. So I have a deep, deep love in my heart for animals. I always have. And at that center, I had a beautiful little dog named Shannon. And for a few months before I lost the dog, I knew I was going to lose the dog. I didn't realize I was that attached to her. Baba said, dog turned around is God. You can learn a lot. What you learn from your pet is unconditional love. And they have that kind of love for you. But there's many animal shelters in Arizona. And I give to the animal shelters. You can also go there and volunteer at animal shelters, which I know a lot of people do. And they'll take a dog that's waiting to be adopted. There's a whole host of things that the members can do, and you can go there and volunteer as well at animal shelters. And I have that information. And the animal shelters are all over, and people should get involved and help
And
there.
what seva are you doing personally concerning animal seva and especially dogs?
Okay, so in my neighborhood, I never go after service projects. And as soon as I deactivated my real estate license, I did that on my 80th birthday. And because the market went to, although I have loved it for 48 years, I said, Swami, I'm done. I want to deactivate my license because things have gotten crazy. And so I don't want to do it anymore. Prices have gone up too much. But as soon as I deactivated my license, I'm getting all kinds of calls from people that want to talk to me about the coronavirus, mass problems, COVID problems, marital problems, kid problems, math problems, and then other people who I take care of 5 dogs in the neighborhood because the owners can't walk and one hurt her foot, the other hurt her back, the others work long hours. So there's a total of 5 that I do in my neighborhood. But also, it's not only the dogs, but I'll sit in with the owner and talk to them as well. And so they all came to me. I haven't gone after them at all. So I'm very, very busy now doing a community work that Swami has sent. So I know he wants me to do it because I haven't gone out after it.
Sister Nula, that was very inspiring and encouraging. And at your age, now you are walking dogs over the age of 85. And I guess it brings you
No,
a
no,
lot of
I'm not 85. I'm 80. I'll be 81 in December.
81 in December. So
Yeah,
my
81
mistake.
in December.
Even at 81, you are there with so much of love in your heart, walking the dogs and doing so much savor to the animals. What a true blessing. But over the years, Sister Nula, you've been exposed to Swami for so many years. You've gotten so many teachings, experiences, the wedding interviews. Can you share, has there been one particular teaching more than the others that have resonated with you deep within?
Uh, I want to tell you about, I guess it's again listening, talking to Swami in the inner voice, because I'm just looking here. I just kind of made a headline of things that really struck me. And one was, I'm going to India one time, and I said, when I'm booking my flight, I'm saying to Baba, just talking to Baba like this, Baba, I have always loved and admired Mother Teresa, but if I stop off in Calcutta to see her, she may not be there. And I just kind of felt, no, you shouldn't do that. So I didn't, I left it go. And then another time, I'm saying, Baba, I love Pope Paul, but if I go through Italy, he may not be there, and I left it go. Well, guess what? I had an experience with both of them. And this is what I want to share more than anything again, because I would like to see people doing the same thing I'm doing. And because God is inside of you, it can be any name of God you want or form of God. It don't have to be Baba, that he's inside of us. You can call him any name you want. He's told us that. Uh, and he's listening because he's inside of us. So I had an amazing experience with Mother Teresa and another amazing experience with Pope Paul by just putting that out years before, and years later they happened. Would that be a good thing to share? Yes? Okay. So one time at my house, the Budgeons on Thursday night, and I got a call from this guy that said, I will not, one of the members, I will not be there on Thursday night because Mother Teresa is going to be at the Colosseum. The Colosseum happened to be 10 minutes away from my house. He said, Mother Teresa's coming to the Colosseum and I'm going to go to see her. And so then I don't know what prompted me, but I called this person that did a lot of work with the homeless. She worked at the university at ASU. And I called her, and out of the blue, I called her without even thinking. And I said, would you happen to know where Mother Teresa is staying? And she was rushing out the door to go to a meeting in San Diego. And she said to me, you are not going to believe this, but Mother Teresa is going to be staying at a house you helped us buy for the homeless. And because nobody knew where Mother Teresa was going to stay in Phoenix, she wanted to stay with the poor of the poor, and she didn't want anybody to know where she was. So all the church people had to go to the Colosseum. The only one that went to the house that I helped buy for the homeless was the bishop. Everybody else had to go, except I invited 2 devotees to come with me. So there were 2 devotees and myself. When we got there, Mother Teresa was just arriving. So we got to greet her. We spent the whole day there. And then I said to the devotees, there's no guarantee, but Mother Teresa's leaving tomorrow. If you would like to go down, you might get to see her. And a couple of them did. But we went down again the next day, and lo and behold, we were there to see Mother Teresa off and say goodbye to her. So that's the picture I sent you with Mother Teresa. So that's Sairam on that one. Now I'll tell you the Pope story, if that's okay.
Please go right ahead.
Okay. So, and before I saw the Pope in person, I had a dream 3 years before. 3 years before. And in the dream, I thought we were at a Baba function. And in the dream, I'm following along with a whole lot of people, and we're walking up to this big, big building, and everybody's walking slowly and quietly and being very reverent. And I'm feeling in the dream that we're attending a Baba function. But what put me on when we walked up in front of this big building is there's hot dogs and hamburger stands outside the building. And as we're going into the building, they're playing Amazing Grace. And then we go in to sit down. And in the dream, I saw where we were sitting. I'm walking off to my left, and I'm seeing all of this. So then, 3 years after I having that dream, approximately, I get a call from a couple I knew that spends the summers in California. So they called me and they said, we have tickets to go to see Mother Teresa, and we're going to give you a choice. And they're all good tickets. You can go to the Colosseum. No, this is for the Pope. I'm sorry, did I say Mother Teresa? For the Pope. We have good tickets to go to see the Pope. He's going to be at the Colosseum on 19th Ave, which was by my house at that time. He's going to be at St. Mary's Church downtown, and he's going to be at ASU. Which ones would you like? And I thought about it for a minute, and I said, I'll pick ASU. And so then I called a friend and I said, the Pope is going to be at ASU. Do you want to come with me? And she said, yes. She was a devotee that came to the center. So I did not realize it until I came home that night, and I'm just putting my head on the pillow, and I thought, oh my God, this is the dream I had 3 years before. But every detail was exactly like it was in the dream. And then if I had picked the Colosseum, or if I had picked the church downtown, the dream would have been different. But it was exactly, because as we walked up to see the Pope, Amazing Grace was playing, and there was hot dogs and hamburgers, free food outside for everybody. And as we walked in, we walked down steps, and the Pope got out of a limousine and into the Pope mobile and walked all around. And the seats were very good because I saw him getting out of all of that and getting in. So again, look at the way Baba, I just put it out there, and look at the way he took care of that. This is, I feel in my heart, for all of us. All we have to do is communicate with him, be sincere with him. See good, do good, be good. Start the day with love, fill the day with love, end the day with love. That's the way to God. Do
Two
service.
wonderful, two wonderful, wonderful experiences again of Swami's grace, his love, and his compassion being showered upon you. So, Sister Nula, my final question to you is what we normally term the $1,000,000 question to my guests.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you look around in the society today, you cannot help but notice and observe there's so much of pain and misery and hurt and economic disaster. There is wars happening amongst nations. The pandemic has killed so much. So many people have lost jobs. They've been thrown out of their homes. People are not getting food. There's so much of poverty. And Swami, has always put a tremendous emphasis on selfless and community service. And he says, rest assured, my words are going to come to pass. And there will come a time when the whole world will be in a state of unity, love, and harmony. But from your experience, what you have been involved in, how you have understood Swami's teachings, if someone were to come to you and say, Sister Nula, I have a sincere intention to make the world a better place. What can I do to contribute to making the world a little bit more loving, a little bit more kind, a little bit more peaceful?
Um, Swami has said, hands that help are holier than lips that pray. And service, service, service. Um, and with me, he sends the service to me all the time. And if you can't physically go out to do service in these times, another very good way to do service is from the depths of your heart, visualize light going out through you to the whole world, and especially where there's problems and difficulties with fires and floods and famines and wars. Visualize the light over and send light out to all these different parts of the world. And then do whatever we can do to help. Because Swami warned us about these times. Over the years, Swami has been warning us about these times. He said, human beings have poisoned the air, poisoned the water, poisoned the planet. We have done it. And over the years, he's telling us don't waste time, food, money, or energy. And with those savings, we can help. We can help. And then he said, if God blesses you with money, it should be divided a fourth, a fourth, a fourth, and a fourth. A fourth to raise your family, a fourth for personal needs, um, a fourth to let me see, a fourth to charity, a fourth to pay your income tax, and he raised his voice, a fourth to pay your income tax and a fourth to charity. And he said, if it's done like this, there's more than enough money to go from the ground 10 times over, but it's on people's unwillingness to share. And he said, it's every man's right for free education and free health care. So you see how far off the track we have gotten. And my heart was touched a couple of years ago because an old friend of mine who passed away on Baba's birthday, and he did tell her he would give her self-realization. She left her body on his birthday, but 11 months before I met with her physically and we had lunch. But on September, 2 months before she left her body, she texted me and saying, I had a beautiful long Swami dream last night and you were in it towards the end. So she had cancer over 40 years ago, and Swami said, because of your love and devotion to God. Oh, the doctors here told her she had 5 days to live. So at the time, she had no health insurance. So she went to India. And Baba saw her right away for an interview and said, because of your love and devotion to God, cancer is cancelled. Because at that time, I had a center in my home. She had the EHV with the children in her home. And we did an awful lot of things together. We were in interviews together and everything. So the next morning, I called my friend and she answered the phone. So I said, tell me about the dream last night. So she said, it was a long, wonderful Swami dream. And towards the end, I walked into her dream. And Swami said to my friend Dixie about me that he was, and it touched my heart when I got off the phone, I cried because he said to her, he was, let me see what he said now. He said he was aware and pleased with the loving service that I do. He said to her, he was aware and pleased. And that was my last conversation with her. And she left her body on Baba's birthday. But Baba told her he would give her self-realization. And she was realized before she left the body. So, but that story touched my heart about service. So Baba is very aware and he sends us the service. Are we open and ready for it. So serve any way we can.
So, Sister Nula Falvey, the Sri Satya Sai Global Council Trinidad and Tobago wishes to express gratitude and appreciation to you, your story, your transformation, your humorous adventures, your spiritual adventures at the divine lotus feet of Mother Sai have inspired and motivated us. And you've taken us along with you on this journey so we can experience a fraction of that bliss and happiness that you are surely feeling. May Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba continue to bless and guide you, and may you continue to be a loving instrument in the unfolding of his divine mission. Jai Sai Ram.
Jai Sai Ram. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Jai Sai Ram.